Imagine this. Tonight, you go to sleep just like any other night. Everything seems normal. Billions of people around the world are living their daily lives. Massive cargo ships are crossing the oceans, fishing boats are drifting through deep waters, and coastal cities are glowing with lights. But when you wake up the next morning and look outside, you witness something that no human in history has ever seen before. The oceans are gone. Yes, every ocean on Earth has vanished overnight. Where endless blue waters once stretched to the horizon, there is now only emptiness. Vast chasms, enormous valleys, and hidden landscapes buried beneath the sea for millions of years are suddenly exposed to the world. For the first few hours, people would refuse to believe it. News stations, scientists, governments, everyone would be in shock. Satellite images would reveal a planet that looks completely different. The blue planet would no longer be blue. It would become a gray, terrifying world, unlike anything humanity has ever known. But the truly frightening part has not even begun. The oceans are not just bodies of water. They are the beating heart of Earth's climate system. Oceans absorb heat from the sun and distribute it around the globe. Without them, the planet's climate would begin to fall into chaos within days. Some regions would experience temperatures soaring above 50 degrees Celsius, while others would suddenly plunge into freezing conditions. Seasons would become unpredictable. Weather patterns that have existed for thousands of years would collapse. Earth would enter a climate nightmare beyond anything in recorded history. But climate chaos would not be the greatest threat. Nearly half of the oxygen you breathe comes from microscopic organisms and phytoplankton living in the oceans. If the oceans disappeared, these tiny life forms would die almost immediately. At first, humans might not notice any difference, but over time, oxygen levels in the atmosphere would begin to decline. The air would still be there, but breathing would slowly become more difficult. Humanity would realize that life on Earth depends not only on people, animals, and forests, but also on countless invisible organisms working silently beneath the waves. Then, the global food crisis would begin. More than 3 billion people relied directly on the oceans for food. Fish, shellfish, seaweed, and countless other marine resources would vanish instantly. International food supply chains would collapse, markets would empty, nations could face conflicts over dwindling resources. But perhaps the most astonishing sight would be revealed beneath the vanished seas. For the first time in human history, enormous underwater mountains, ancient volcanoes, deep canyons, and mysterious geological formations would finally be fully exposed. Humanity would finally see the Mariana Trench in its entirety. It would appear like a gigantic scar carved into the face of the planet, so deep and vast that standing inside it would feel like standing at the bottom of another world. And at that moment, people would realize how little we truly know about our own planet. Scientists believe that countless unknown species may have existed within the oceans. If the waters disappeared, researchers might discover fossils, ancient ecosystems, and evidence of life forms never before seen by human eyes. But there would be little time to celebrate such discoveries, because Earth would rapidly become less habitable. Without oceans, the Earth's water cycle would begin to fail. Cloud formation would decrease dramatically. Rainfall would become increasingly rare. Rivers would begin to shrink. Lakes would slowly dry up.
agriculture would collapse, global famine would spread across continents. Before the first year had ended, billions of people could be displaced from their homes. And then, another terrifying danger would emerge. Beneath the ocean floor lie vast reserves of methane gas. Methane is a greenhouse gas far more powerful than carbon dioxide. Without the oceans to contain it, enormous amounts of methane could escape into the atmosphere. Global temperatures would rise rapidly. Climate instability would worsen. Entire regions of Earth could become too extreme for human survival. But perhaps the most heartbreaking tragedy would be the collapse of marine life. Whales, dolphins, sharks, octopuses, creatures that have ruled Earth's oceans for millions of years would disappear within days. An entire world would die before our eyes. Imagine a blue whale, the largest animal to ever exist on Earth, lying helplessly on the dry seabed where an ocean once existed. The fall of a civilization is tragic, but the death of an entire living world is something far more devastating. Years later, Earth would no longer resemble the planet we know today. The blue planet would become a dry, dusty, and hostile world. Seen from space, it would no longer appear as a symbol of life. Instead, it would stand as a reminder of a lost world. A world where vast oceans once covered the surface, where whales sang beneath the waves, where colorful coral reefs stretched across the seabed like underwater cities, where billions of living creatures formed one of the most complex and beautiful ecosystems ever known. And perhaps humanity would finally understand something important. For centuries, we searched the stars for another Earth, yet the most precious Earth we ever had was right here, in these oceans, in these blue waters, the very waters that made life possible. So the next time you look at the ocean, don't just see water, see the heartbeat of our planet. Because if that heartbeat ever stops, the story of human civilization may end with it.